Some abilities in Overwatch didn't just break balance, they broke the entire game. These weren't slight tuning issues or just a few numbers off. These were full-blown meta-warping abilities that dominated ranked, shaped pro play, and forced Blizzard to rebuild entire systems just to keep things playable. One ability kit was so overtuned it led to a complete restructure of the game's competitive format, and when that wasn't enough, they removed the tank and launched a fake sequel. These are the most broken hero abilities in Overwatch history. Roadhog's original hook was one of the most broken abilities in Overwatch, period. It didn't care about cover, it didn't care about line of sight, and it definitely didn't care about physics. If Hog hooked you, it didn't matter where you were going, you were getting pulled to him no matter what was in the way. The hook would create its own path. You could blink, slide, or be midair, and the game would rewind your movement just to hand you over to Roadhog. There were clips of players getting hooked behind walls, not even visible on Hog's screen, and getting yanked straight through the geometry. Tracer could blink away, and if the hook landed before the animation finished, she'd get pulled all the way back like her recall just got overwritten. It was wild. The ability just didn't seem fair. It broke the rules of the game itself. Eventually, Blizzard had to rewrite the way the hook checked line of sight, pathing, and physics, but early on, Hook 1.0 was unstoppable. Who could forget Mercy's Mass Resurrect? This ability was iconic and completely broken. Back in the early days of Overwatch, Mercy was one of just 4 original supports released with the base game. Lucio was generally picked for speed, Zen healed, and then Symmetra, she just kind of existed. So Mercy became a must pick. Her Resurrect didn't just revive one person, it actually brought everyone back who died. Instantly. No cast time, no counterplay, just a full reset of your team. Players figured out the best strategy was to hide. They would let the team die, fly in with the Valk movement, press Q, and undo everything the other team did. Therefore, she created a meta where winning a fight didn't actually mean anything if the enemy Mercy lived. You could just lose it right back instantly. Blizzard eventually realized that there was no saving the ability, and they deleted Mass Res from her kit completely and then reworked her into the version that we have now. A single target res with a long cooldown, and Valkyrie as her new ultimate. Next up is an ability that turned geometry into a one-shot weapon, Hanzo's Scatter Arrow. Now, if Mercy was broken for bringing people back, Hanzo was broken for deleting people with 0 effort. Scatter Arrow was infamous. You could be playing tank, full health, walk around a corner or a choke, and just explode.
Orisa example, if you're playing Orisa and Hanzo shoots a scatter arrow into your feet and you get one shot by it, it doesn't feel real good.
Hanzo didn't even have to aim at you. He'd shoot at the floor or a nearby wall, and the arrow chunks would ricochet in every direction in one shot. This turned close quarter fights into a total dice roll, especially on maps with tight corners. Hanzo didn't need mechanics, just a decent guess and a hallway. It got so ridiculous that Blizzard scrapped the ability entirely. They replaced scatter arrows with storm arrows, which are still strong, but at least they still require you to actually aim. In the 6v6 era of Overwatch, the introduction of Sigma in 2019 gave rise to one of the most suppressive metas in the game's history, the double shield meta. Sigma's barrier had 1500 HP and could be deployed at will, allowing for dynamic repositioning. Orisa's protective barrier boasted 900 HP with a 10-second cooldown. Together, they created a near impenetrable wall of 2400 HP that could be rotated and layered to absorb continuous damage. This combination forced enemies to expend significant resources just to break through the shields, often before they could even engage the actual heroes. The meta slowed down gameplay dramatically, turning matches into shield wars where poke damage reigned supreme. The dominance of double shield persisted until Blizzard implemented significant balance changes, and eventually the transition to 5v5 in Overwatch 2, which reduced the number of tanks per team and aimed to speed up the pace of the game. Sojourn launched with Overwatch 2 and immediately became the strongest DPS in the game. Her primary fire built up energy, and when it maxed out, she could fire a railgun shot that did 260 damage to the head. With no fall off, hit scan accuracy, and high mobility, she could slide into position and delete any 200 HP hero instantly from basically any range. She completely reshaped how fights were taken. You couldn't peek, you couldn't poke, you just had to pray your Sojourn was better. It all came to a head in the 2022 Overwatch League Grand Finals, San Francisco Shock versus the Dallas Fuel. It was Proper versus Edison, 2 legendary players. Both teams ran Sojourn. The entire broadcast was glued to their point of views. That's how dominant she was. The outcome of fights often came down to which Sojourn hit the first rail. She wasn't just a part of the meta, she was the meta. And for players watching at home, it was clear. If you weren't playing Sojourn, you were just waiting around to get one shot. We can't talk about the history of broken abilities in Overwatch without talking about Brig. Brig didn't have just one broken ability. She was the broken ability. When Brig dropped in 2018, she flipped the meta instantly. She could stun enemies with Shield Bash, knock squishies away with Whip Shot, passively heal her whole team through Inspire, and she had a 600 HP shield that could survive almost all ultimates, which was more health than most of the tanks. Her repair pack healed for 150 health, and if you're already at full health, the extra healing actually turned into temporary armor, making heroes even harder to kill. Then, on top of all of that, there was also Rally, her ultimate, which granted armor over time to everybody nearby, and for years it was actually bugged. It actually reduced more damage than it was supposed to, basically giving them super armor, and nobody realized it until much later whenever Workshop ended up getting released. You could bash, attack, and whip Tracer, and it would instantly kill her. You could stun a Reinhardt out of Shatter, so that means that you could stun Reinhardt through his shield, and it didn't even matter if he was holding it, meaning that the enemy Reinhardt could now get a free Shatter off every single time. And if you even tried to dive her team, you just got stunned, healed, pushed out while the rest of her team sat in a 20-meter aura of unkillability. That's what killed the dive meta. Winston, Genji, Tracer, they were all completely shut down. What came next after her release was Goats, the 3 tank, 3 support composition, and there were no more DPS, just cooldown rotations, alt layering, and just an infinite wall of sustain. This comp was actually first used by a contenders team named Goats, which is why the name is Goats, and it worked so well that it took over every single level of play. Brig was the glue, and she just made Goats work. It lasted over a year, ranked, Overwatch League, everything, highest levels of play, and it got so bad that Blizzard had to step in with role queue just to get damage players back into the game. Eventually, she got reworked, Dive returned, and Overwatch 2 ended up getting released because one hero pushed the game so far off the rails that they had to completely start over. Overwatch has had its fair share of balance issues, but these abilities, they weren't just strong, they were defined eras. Whether it was Mercy undoing team wipes, Sojourn deleting you before the fight even started, or Brig forcing the entire role system into the game, these weren't just power spikes, they were meta-defining mistakes. I want you all to let me know in the comments which ability you think was the most broken, or if I missed anyone that deserves a spot on the list. Thank you so much for watching. Tried to do something a little bit different. I appreciate you all. See you.